Hello and welcome to the Hold All Tickets World Pool Preview for Flemington on Derby Day this Saturday. In collaboration with the Hong Kong Jockey Club, you can bet with the world. I'm your host, Alex Donnelly. 9 of the best coming your way from Flemington, joined as always by Xavier Pegum. Pegs, how are you feeling heading into Saturday?
Oh, we've said it multiple times. It's Christmas, isn't it?
It is Christmas for punters. Make sure we get around it. Of course, as I said, we are doing this in collaboration with the Hong Kong Jockey Club. As Flemington this Saturday, all 9 races are world pool races. So we're going to have absolutely massive pools throughout the day there. So quickly, Flemington, rail position, well, it's in the true. Where else would it be for day 1 of the Cup Carnival? And we are on a good 4 surface. Huey Bowman flying in as well from Hong Kong for the day, so he has a bunch of rides throughout the day as well, and I cannot wait to get into it. We'll hear later on from Michael Kent Jr.
Oh, good get.
Junior's got a couple of runners on the day alongside his co-trainer, Mick Price.
Oh.
We will hear from Junior how he thinks his horses will go. We'll get to that a little bit later, a little teaser for the punters out there. You know what? Let's rip into it. Race number 1, 12:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so those are the times we're rolling with. As always, the Carbine Club kicks us off over the 1,600 metres. A small but select field to kick off the day, and Feroce is my on-top selection for this race. Look, I thought it was fantastic in the Caulfield Guineas.
Oh, awesome.
Just didn't get the luck at the top of the straight. Nearly got over the top of Private Life there. In third was Evaporate. Broadsiding was behind him in fourth. Well, Broadsiding's then run a bottler in the Cox Plate, so the form's held up well. 1,600 doesn't look to be an issue. I also like that he hits this race 4th up from a spell. He's not 5th or 6th up, which may be towards the end of the preparation. But now that he's come to it 4th up, already had the run at the mile, he just looks to control the race. He looks like he'll lead and win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got Feroce on top as well, and he's an absolute stable star from Dom Sutton's stable. Dom's slowly establishing himself, but yeah, his form in the Guineas at such long odds as well. Like, he's going to give perfect value this Saturday.
I'm also having Exacta with the number 6 Aliana as well. James McDonald rides that horse for Chris Waller. Was good winning the Reginald Allen last start. Probably has to go back to last and probably gives Feroce too far of a start to run it down. But Chris Waller does love winning the Carbine Club. Do you think Kermadec, Fangirl coming through? That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, and just speaking about like Feroce, one thing about this race, lightning turn of foot.
Yep. All right, let's get it to race 2. It is the Vanity over 1,400 metres. This is for the 3-year-old fillies. It looks like it's going to be a lead up for the 1,000 guineas. Oh boy, full field of 17 here with the one emergency, which is Delicious, who probably won't get a run, you would think. They're going to go fast here. So for me, that makes, I think, Too Darn Lizzie is a tiny bit of a risk. I think she'll get softened up in front. But I'm just going to play this safe to a degree. I'm just having a straight up trifecta in this race. I have 5 horses in it. So I got Too Darn Lizzie in there. I think she will lead. She may get softened up a little bit, but she's tough. She's trained by Gay Waterhouse, Tim Clark on board. We know what we're going to get from her. I've got 2 I Am Velvet in there, number 4 as well. Still has to figure it all out. She's a head case. Sure. Absolute nutcase. If she figures out how to run straight, she looks like she is a Group 1 horse in the waiting. Next in there is number 9, Good Sort for Chris Waller. Should have won last start. Cool. Got knocked over near the finish. Absolutely should have won that race. J-Mac rides it. Number 10, Lovely Cut for Reese Goodwin. He's going to go back to last, see them a start, but absolutely charge through the line there. And then next, Extremely Hardies for Chris Waller. John Allen rides. I'm not massive on John Allen, but I think this is a very talented filly. I think those 5 will fill the trifecta slots.
I'm just going with a bit of a simple duet.
Yep.
I think also not just
Quinella Place.
Quinella Place, yeah. Too Darn Lizzie.
Yep.
I've got her on top, but the Too Darn Hot Stallion has been fantastic in Australia, winning left, right, and Shanta. I tell you what, I'd see the service fee go up soon, but yeah.
Don't think he's coming back because he's had too many winners, Broadsiding and co. Don't think he's coming back this year.
Well, we'll see. Too Darn Lizzie, beat the favourite Z-Tongue in their last bout at Caulfield in the Group 2000 Guineas Prelude. She's going to absolutely burst out of the gates on Saturday, and she's got that fitness to maintain her lead. And then I'm going to add number 3, Kuro Yanagi.
Yep.
Add in South Australian raider Kuro Yanagi. Punters will have plenty of value to play with those two together.
I like it. Race number 3 is the Rising Fast Stakes. And before we get into that race, we're going to hear from Charmstone's co-trainer, Michael Kent Jr., to talk about Charmstone. And of course, he does have a runner up in the Coolmore Stud Stakes first settler. So we're going to hear from Jr. about those 2 horses right now. Now on the Hold All Tickets World Pool Preview, I'm joined by Michael Kent Jr. He's got a small but select team down the straight at Flemington this Saturday. How are we, Junior?
Very good, Alex. How are you?
Oh, can't be better, mate. Can't be better. It is Christmas. It is one of the busiest times of year for horse trainers. So before we get into talking about your Flemington runners, take us through what a week of a trainer looks like, Melbourne Cup week with so much going on.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's crazy. We definitely burned the candle at both ends. I mean, I went to Coldplay last night. Couldn't miss that. It's already started.
Yep.
4 hours sleep last night, but it's a busy week. We're up at sort of 3 o'clock every morning, and you've got a lot of racing, but then you've got to be social. A lot of clients are in town from around the world. There's functions to do. So, as I said, candle at both ends gets thinned out, and by the end, you're looking for a break. But we love it. It's what we work hard all winter. When the rain hits and it's cold, and that's what it's all about. When you on the biggest stage in the world, you're suited up and you win a big race at Flemington. You can't beat it.
I like it. You got a couple of chances in this Saturday at Flemington, just the two, both of them down the straight. The first of which comes up in the Rising Fast. It is race 3. Charmstone, she's second up after 2 years off, but she's unbeaten second up, and she's a winner down the straight in the past.
Yeah, and importantly, Alex, she's always given us that Group 1 feeling. Really high quality mare. She came out of the Golden Rose last year injured, had time off, as you mentioned, and her jump outs were okay, but she just got that 10% better every time. But her first up run was sensational. Home in the fastest last 600 of the race. But what we most liked was her action. She really extended properly, and Damien Lane was thrilled. She's had 3 weeks now to get fitter. We've tuned her up some more. And back to a handicap. So she's down the weights. She's won down the straight, as you said, and she's going super. So given all of that, she's got to be a great each-way chance.
So can you take us through sort of what makes her such a nice straight track filly, given the man now, given she's had the 2 experiences down there as a 2-year-old? What makes her a straight track horse, basically a straight track horse?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is they've got to have straight line speed. So in a straight line, how fast can they quicken up and how can they accelerate? You've got to be able to go through gaps. If you're a horse who prefers to, pull away on a corner and lead, I think that's not an advantage down the straight. So she's got that really good burst of acceleration, and then she can sustain that gallop, which is what all good horses need to do. And then mentally, she's just very straightforward. She's not quirky. She's genuine. She runs true and straight. So I think they are 2 important characteristics, which she has both of them.
Okay, I like it. And then we go across to one of the big races of the day, probably the most valuable race of the day, we shall say. The Coolmore Stud Stakes, 1,200 metres, a crack field of colts here, and you've got a pretty handy one yourself. First Settler, who's won 2 starts down the straight and has won the logical lead up in the Danehill.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a great form card for this race. He's 4 starts, 3 wins, and 1 second. His only blemish was second behind Growing Empire, the favourite. Beaten 1.25 lengths when he was first up off 1 trial and quite fat and burly. Growing Empire has since gone to places in Everest. We've had 4 weeks extra to get fit for this race. It's been our target race all year. As you said, he goes well down the straight. He's won 2 down the straight. It's a very, very big win first up in the Danehill Group 2. Last start in the Group 2 Danehill, because Mick D, who's riding him Saturday, had to drag him all the way back to last after beginning well just to get cover. He's a long way off them, and he really charged late to win in the last stride. He couldn't look any better. He's really, really well. He's a beautiful stud-type colt. I think we've drawn beautifully. Down the straight, us trainers prefer to draw middle to outside. Just tends to favour that way. And we've got the favourite right inside of us. So if we were to tag Growing Empire everywhere, that'd be a good place to be.
I was going to mention, you didn't mention that you drew barrier 1 in the Danehill and you had to go back to last and then almost come around them. But then barrier 10 here means you look to be what is the fastest part of the track down the straight, with Switzerland also drawn inside you. You've also got Traffic Warden inside you. But to win a race like this, you're relatively young in your training career yourself. Obviously, your partner, Mick Price, he's won this race before. What does it mean to a stable, just not from, I suppose, just, the 2 gentlemen that take charge of it, but looking forward, having a Group 1 winning colt win a race like this?
Yeah, it's massive. every trainer has a race they desire to win. In our stable, the most important thing for us is stud colts. We're really big on buying young colts and getting to win the big races. We won the Golden Rose last year with Jacquino, who's off the stud. As you said, Flying Artie won this race with Mick Price. He's had Extreme Choice, Tarzino, Grunt. A lot of good colts have come to the yard. And for us, these stallion-making races are the pinnacle of our year. So for me as a young trainer to win this race would be huge. This is one of the biggest races of the year. It's such a hard race to win because there's so many talented colts. And down the straight, things need to go right. You need to be drawn on the right part of the track. But there's so many variables. Where is the speed around you? You want to be on the side with more speed because they're going to take you closer into the race without you coming off the bridle sooner. So I think we've drawn the right part. I think Growing Empire will scoot along and go forward. I think Mark Zara will get back on him too far. So if he's third, fourth, and we're just in behind him, it's going to be a great spot to be. So hopefully our colt can execute properly. I really do think he can. It'd be no surprise we'll see him win. He's got a terrific overall record. He's the right type of horse. He's got brilliant acceleration. He can sustain a gallop. I love his action. He's got one of those really big actions, really covers the ground. So, I'm looking forward to it. Very exciting.
Sounds like there's a bit of confidence from the camp there. Now, it's very hard because it's basically a flip of the coin. Who's the better chance of the two?
I think they both could win without any surprise.
Yep.
If I was betting logically, I'd be a bit boring and say they'd both be very strong place bets. I do this.
Hey.
If I was being honest, it's very hard to win these races, and if I was being a sensible punter, that's what I'd say. But yeah, they honestly are both very good each way chances. And if you're going to put the gun to my head, well, Charmstone's the more likely winner, being a softer race in general. So it's an easier race to win.
But have not been put off on the first settler chances at all. A big thank you to Michael Kent Jr. for joining us today on the Hold All Tickets World Pool preview.
All right, thanks, guys.
A big thanks to Junior for jumping on board. Arguably the most handsome trainer in Australia.
I agree.
Yeah.
Behind Matt Kamani.
Matt Kamani, fair. I don't mind it whatsoever. Okay, so this race, the Rising Fast Stakes, Charmstone comes into this second up. Does look to be a likely improver, but I'm going to go with Star Patrol each way.
Okay.
I'm giving him one last chance here. He was poor the other day in the Scalacci.
Yeah.
But he was on the wrong part of the track, and I don't think he just doesn't get around Caulfield whatsoever. His last two runs down the straight were the Bobby Lewis and the Gill guy last year. He won them both, and then I think he might have had enough by the time he got to the champion sprint. So I'm happy to back him, give him one last chance with the blinkers on again. He's had 7 goes at Flemington for 4 starts and a second. So one more chance here. I think he's pretty decent odds each way with Benny Mellum on board.
Yeah, I've just got the trifecta, so I'll just run through the numbers and I'll explain why. I've got number 6, Schwartz, number 11, Ray Magnerio, number 2, Mahaba, and number 1, Star Patrol.
Yep.
I agree with you there. It's just such a shame. Such a brilliant horse last year. That final spring press, obviously, prep didn't end on the best note, but winning those 2 races first up in spring.
Yep.
Astonishing. Schwartz now a multiple group winner who's got black type form at Flemington last spring. He'll be electric down the straight. Ray Magnerio as well. Brilliant turn of foot. Second up will challenge the odds-on favourite. The inclusions of Mahaba and Star Patrol, I think, are just going to add in that extra bit of value, but they're actually quality horses to have in there, so not too risky.
Yeah, I don't mind it. All right, let's get to race number 4. It is the Damien Oliver, and I think the market's going to hone in on 2 horses here in Jimmy Star and, of course, another Will, both trained by the Kieran Maher stable. So I'm just going to have a Cornella in this race. I think Jimmy Star's terribly hard to beat, but he may get too far back in the run. So I'm going to have a Cornella with another Will in there for Jamie Carr, of course, owned by the late Cole McKenna. And, it'd be great to see if this horse wins just for the scenes post-race. And, Cole McKenna was a great servant to racing.
Yeah.
Passed away last Sunday. He's been good this preparation. 2 wins from the 3 starts. Didn't have the best of luck in the Turak. That was a very weird race. Willing to forgive that. I'm going to throw in Tamerlane in my Cornella as well. Has a great first up record. Has a very good Flemington record as well. Was a winner over the Carnival last year. D-Lane just led them a merry dance and he absolutely brained them. And then, of course, Jimmy Star in there as well. So my Cornella is 2, 3, and 5.
Nice one. I've just got another Will on top. Another Will to win. He's a quality horse, but at the end of the day, people have been coming back to me being like, oh, you're just on it for the story. No, the story is going to be great if it ends up happening.
Yep.
But he is a quality horse. He's a Group 3 winner. He's a listed winner this prep as well. Steps, I'd say 1,400 metres
Better than a mile.
Yeah, better than a mile. And I think that's where he should be capped for the time being. So I've got another Will on top.
Okay, I don't mind it. All right, let's get it across to race number 5. It is the Whirlpool Wakeful Stakes, sponsored by our friends at the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Make sure you bet with the world this weekend, especially in the Wakeful Stakes. I think this is the best bet of the day. Race 5, number 5, Powers of Opal for Johnny Sargent, James McDonald. Look, absolutely smashed them at Hawkesbury, running pretty quick time in one of those super maidens. But then it was good in the flight stakes where Tommy Berry led up. And I think they were trying to drag a lot of the sprint out of the fillies and try and turn it into a staying test. She's by Ocean Park out of an Alamosa mare. So look, I'm pretty happy to back this horse at the 2,000 metres, given that I think this is the perfect setup because you have a look. She started this preparation over 1,300 at Warwick Farm, 1,400 midway where she probably should have won. Ran in the flight stakes, good there. Smashed him in the Super Maiden, had James McDonald on board that day. And then you go back last preparation. In the Fernhill over 1,600 metres, she was beaten by Broadsiding and El Costello. That's pretty good form when you look at it now, going back a couple of months.
Can run.
Yeah, I think she'll jump. I think she'll just sit in behind the speed, and I think she'll win. I've got her on top. As I said, best bet of the day, win bet, but then an exacta with number 1, Jenny's Meadow, and number 2, Treasure the Moment. Either of them to run second. Jenny's Meadow gets the blinkers again after running a bit sideways the other day in the Ethereal, and Treasure the Moment has just started winning through the midweeks on the way through, but they've been good quality races on it was the Sunday meeting at Sandown, and then of course the Wednesday between the Caulfield Cup for them. So those are my tips. So I've got an exacta with number 5 to win, Powers of Opal from 1 and 2.
Yeah, just got a Quinella here.
Yep.
I've got Treasure the Moment, number 2, and number 1, Jenny's Meadow. Treasure the Moment, usually what I call a midweek warrior, and she has absolutely smashed those midweek races. Was successful on Caulfield Social Day, Coogee Cup Day.
Wednesday.
Yeah. And now earns her first black type start. I also like Jenny's Meadow. She's sort of battled a bit this prep. First 2 starts weren't great, but a second place in the Group 2 Ethereal.
Yep.
I think it's finally her time to step up.
Okay, let's get across to race number 6. It is the Coolmore Stud Stakes, the Blue Riband event for the 3-year-olds. Good colt usually wins this race, and if you're a filly, you're a very good filly to win this. Pretty keen on Switzerland here for Chris Waller and James McDonald. I think his win last start in the Roman Consul was fantastic at Rose Hill. Ran really quick time and absolutely raced away from them late there. I think he draws a perfect barrier here in barrier 8. His jump out down the straight was quite good. I'm also going to have a trifecta, so I got a couple of numbers here, so bear with me. Number 1, Growing Empire's in there. Number 3, Traffic Warden. Number 5, Switzerland. Number 6, First Settler. We did hear from Junior about his chances to win it down the straight at last start. Number 8, Gatsby's, D-Lane and Waller. I've just got to throw Waller in there for the blowout. And then your mate, Bellatrix Star as well. She's won 3 on the bounce, and she just knows one thing, and that is winning. And I think B Shin from barrier 11 down the straight will just sit last and look to explode.
What a combination, Bellatrix Star and Blake Shin. Yeah, I've got the trifecta there. I'm with number 5, Switzerland, number 14, Bellatrix Star, number 3, Traffic Warden, and number 1, Growing.
So we have the
Empire.
same trifecta, basically. We can trim mine up into yours.
Yeah, well, if you want to know my explanation, just listen to what Alex said before.
But get rid of Gatsby's and First Settler.
Correct.
All right, let's get to the Victoria Derby, 2,500 metres. Look, this race was throwing a massive curveball when the favourite El Costello drew barrier 18. There's only one way to look at it for me. I think if he jumps and gets the right run in the race, I think he'll win. I think he's got that much on them. I don't think the backups are worry. I don't think 2,500's a worry. It's by Castelvecchio out of a fast net rock mare. No dramas whatsoever. The way he ran through the line last weekend, the spring champion, was great. I'm going to have an exacta with him to win from number 4, Gold Rush Guru. Jamie Carr, good winner in South Australia last start. I think he'll sit just behind them and then work into the race late. Same with St. Emilion, who won well at Geelong. And then King of Wall Street, who won the lead up as well. So I'm looking at the 3 major lead ups outside of the spring champion. So I'm looking at the race in South Australia, the Hill Stakes, the Geelong lead up, and then, of course, the Caulfield, what do they call it now? The Caulfield Classic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you regarding St. Emilion. Fantastic horse, but I'm just going to go very simple. Spoke about him just about a minute ago.
Yep.
Number 6, King of Wall Street, trained by Matt Kamani. Like you mentioned before, that Caulfield Classic run was fantastic. Just found himself in a really nice position with about 300 metres to go. Not necessarily a turn of foot, but is really strong, really gritty, and can just battle it out down that home straight. Plenty of fitness there by Dundeel.
Yep.
Lot to like.
All right, I like it. I reckon you're going to get great odds there, so maybe look at an each way bet there as well.
100%.
Let's go across to race 8. It is the Empire Rose Stakes, Group 1 for the fillies and mares over the 1,600 metres. This is a great field. This race is if you like something, you're going to get a good price, I think. I'm giving Amelia's Jewel one last chance here. Cool. She's had 3 runs this time in for 2 seconds, and then she was 5th in the King Charles, where I thought she was quite good behind Chow Wolf and Pride of Jenny. Look, I know Pride of Jenny disappointed in the Cox Plate, but she was very good in that race. And you go back and have a look at the Golden Pendant, didn't get the best of rides. And then in the Tramway, well, Royal Patron had smashed them, and Kovalika was 3rd. And Kovalika has been building towards something. So the form all around it works well. The blinkers go back on.
Yeah.
Biggest thing here, because all the way through her old trainer, Simon Miller's like, once we get the blinkers on her, she's going to explode. They put them on her in the Goodwood last preparation, but she'd had enough by then. And I think we've figured out she's not a sprinter. She's a miler. So,
they took their time figuring it out, though, didn't they?
So barrier, all the money on offer, I get it. So from barrier 2, I think she can settle a little bit closer with the blinkers on. I think she's going to be very hard to beat. And I'm going to have a Quinella with number 1, a Tissue. She's a winner at this track. She's a winner at this distance. She loves Flemington. She loves the carnival. She's won over the last couple of years here. Pretty keen to back her in the Quinella. So win bet number 2, Amelia's Jewel, Quinella, 1 and 2.
Lovely. I'm going to go a little Quinella place. I've got number 2, Amelia's Jewel, to win.
Yep.
She's going off form. I think she's a much better horse than a Tissue. People might absolutely give it to me about it, but I think she's a much better horse than a Tissue. Hence why I got her on top. And then I've got Orchestral to place number 3. Orchestral, Kiwi horse, Group 1 winner in both Australia and New Zealand. Absolute solid horse here. I think we'll make top 3 easily. Place, there's decent odds there to place as well.
Yeah, okay, I don't mind it whatsoever. And then we get to the final event, which is the Furphy Sprint down the straight, 1,100 metres. This one looks like an absolute raffle, punters. If you're in front, good luck. If you're trying to blast out, once again, good luck. This is a set weights and penalties race. 19 of them will go down the straight. I'm just going to have something each way on Cigar Flick from Barrier 5 for Geordie Childs and Chris Waller. Don't mind the way she's been going about it in her barrier trials and jump outs coming into this. Decent enough first up record, 3 starts for 2 wins. Hasn't had any luck at the track or the distance so far, but she's a winner over 1,100 metres at Rose Hill, and she was good winning her last start over the Queensland Carnival. So at big odds each way, I'm pretty happy to play with her way.
Yeah, really nice. I like that. I am with doing a little Quinella here. I've got number 2, Sandsduke from the Tiaka camp. Unfortunately for Sandsduke, just a bit of average form so far this prep. However, we know from past runs, the ability's certainly there.
And the straight track form.
Absolutely. 1,100 metres down the straight, suiting her to a T, with wins over 1,200 metres prior to this. And Kundalini there as well, number 11.
Okay, that's a good way to finish off the meeting there. We've got a couple of bets going on there around there. And we've also heard from Michael Kent Jr. about his charges throughout the day. All right, that is us done and dusted here on the World Pool Preview for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Remember to bet with the world. Now, coming up, we have 2 more meetings left on the World Pool for the rest of the season, as in the rest of the calendar year. You've got the Grosser Prix von Bayern Day at Munich. That actually comes up next weekend. And then you've got the Grand Primo Carlos Pellegrini in Argentina in December. So there's 2 more World Pool meetings after this Saturday at Flemington for the rest of the calendar year. Of course, the Hong Kong Jockey Club will update the World Pool calendar as we come close to that. I'm sure we'll have some meetings throughout the autumn in Sydney, Melbourne. They were up in Queensland last year as well. So looking forward to that. And of course, we do have the big Hong Kong International Day coming your way in the first week of December. So a lot of racing coming your way from the Hong Kong Jockey Club. But just as a reminder, to bet with the world this weekend at Flemington. Peegs, thank you.
That was good fun.
It was great fun. I can't wait for Derby Day at Flemington. Reminder, bet with the world. Again, thank you to our friends at Hong Kong Jockey Club. We'll catch you next time on the Hold All Tickets World Pool Preview.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.